All right. So we are just waiting for Jennifer to join our conversation today. We have our Woman Wednesday that we are talking with for November. She is an interior designer here in the Atlanta area. Oh, and I just saw that she's in the room. Hey, Jennifer. Give us just a second and we'll get connected. Okay. Go live. She should be popping in here. Give us just a second. There she is.
Hey!
How are you?
I'm good, except for the yard guys are now blowing downstairs right underneath us, so it's kind of loud. I hope it's not too noisy.
No, I don't hear it. It sounds okay.
Okay.
I can hear
It's
you
so
good.
loud on my end.
So how have you been?
Good. How about you?
Good. I know we talked a little bit this morning about the live and everything, and I just wanted to bring you on here and kind of let all my followers see who you were and talk about your business a little bit. So tell us about where you started in interior design, because before you came on, I was telling everyone that you're an interior designer currently in the Atlanta area. I know we have some talking to do about that, but in your transition. But tell us how you got started with interior design.
Well, kind of interestingly enough, I first started out my business concentrating on window treatments. My background is in interior design. Fashion design. I love fabrics. I love dressing things. And so it just organically grew into a business. When I first got married, eons ago before kids, I did my husband's house and decorated it, and everybody would come over and say, "Oh my gosh, who did your window treatments? Who did this? Who did that?" And of course it was me. And so my business just kind of organically grew. I had 3 boys under the age of 4. So at the time it made sense for me to just concentrate on window treatments. I could get in, get out. Didn't spend a lot of time as far as the process.
Gotcha.
I outsourced the workroom portion, the sewing portion, and I hired professional window treatment installers to do all my installing for me. And then as the boys got older, I was able to incorporate more of the interior design. I was doing it already on a much smaller scale, and it just grew.
Oh, that's awesome. Now, that was when you were in Tennessee,
Yes.
right? So you're originally from Tennessee?
Actually, I was born here in Georgia.
Okay.
Grew up in Texas. And then when I graduated from college, I moved to Nashville. So I've been in the Nashville area for 26 years up until 3 days ago.
Yeah. But you've started the transition to Atlanta. When did you start that transition? Because it's been a minute, right?
Well, as COVID came into the United States was about the time I was making that transition.
Yeah, which is like the worst time to be trying to do something like that. But I mean, how did that, what did that look like, and how's it gone for you so far? I mean, I know with the COVID, it made it a little different, but has that been difficult, just because of COVID, or do you feel like, how did that process happen, I guess? And I know that COVID probably threw a huge wrench in that, but what does that look like? You know what I mean?
I had 2 things that happened. I had a blessing and I had a little bit of a setback. So the blessing was I still had a ton of business in Tennessee, in the Middle Tennessee area. I mean, my business, I had a sales goal for 2020, and I blew past it by $100,000.
Wow.
Even being shut down for about 5 months. I mean, it just was off the charts crazy.
Yeah.
The one thing that hurt me was I was here and couldn't network. So I used that time to, strengthen my social media, really work on my webpage, and start transitioning into Google, into Yelp, trying to get all those other platforms up and going.
Right. Well, and it's funny that you say that, because when all of this happened, just a little bit on how things kind of happened for me, when all of that happened, I was watching Instagram and I was watching the interior designers, and they were blowing up, some of them, and some of them were trying to really get their stuff out there on social media, because like you said, they couldn't network. But people were needing their services, and a lot of them were looking on Instagram because everybody's sitting inside their houses. And so that's why I kind of created what we call the personal branding experience, is because I felt like not just interior designers, but all entrepreneurs, suddenly we couldn't network. We couldn't go out to networking events. We weren't doing anything socially. So it was hard. So the only thing you had was, your content online. And now it's still that, it still hasn't come back 100%. And I don't think that's going to change.
No, and I don't think so either. So we're going to have to get a little bit more creative as far as the networking aspect. We're used to being front and center with, being face to face.
Yeah.
And I know it's going to take time. My business, I've been in business 22 years. It just didn't happen overnight.
Right.
So this is a lesson in patience for me as well.
Yeah. So now, will you still have clients in Nashville and clients here? Or are you completely shutting Nashville down and in Atlanta now?
No, I still have, just the way that the pipeline is going right now. I for sure have at least 6 months worth of business to wrap up.
And then you're going to shut it. You won't keep trying to. That's
my plan. I've given myself a little bit of leeway to say I'll give it up to a year.
Okay. So
because I have some really awesome clients that I hate to leave.
Right. But you're not taking on any new clients in Nashville.
I am.
You are? Okay.
I am. If I'm going to be there, I estimate that I'm going to be back about once or twice a month, depending upon what's going on.
Okay.
And just to fill up that time, I can go ahead. I've got a great installer. I've got a plan on how to keep things going in the meantime. So
good. Yeah. Because if we have people watching that are in Nashville, we definitely want to let them know that you're still taking on new clients. And if somebody wanted to start working with you with their interior design on their home or whatever, what's the best way to reach out to you?
Either through email, through my website. You can do a contact me request on jlsdesignstn.com. You can do a contact me, or you can call 615-330-8633, and we can talk about your project. I have started replacing my resources and my vendors that I had in Nashville. I do have a great resource for everything that I had there, for a couple of workrooms, installers, and I've been successful here in this market so far. I've had a couple of little jobs here and there.
Awesome. Now, is that all the contact information that you said, is that the same for Georgia clients as well?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So a couple of the things, when I worked with you, the thing that I found very unique about your services is how you personalize a space. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about that and let the followers know what's unique. That's what I like to tell them, is what's unique about the people that I talk to and I do these branding sessions with. And mine was your artwork that in a couple of the different spaces, and you guys can see these images on my blog. I put her whole branding session pictures at the bottom of the blog. But the paintings and the artwork that you had in the different rooms had personal connections to the people that lived there. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. One of the things, my tagline is making your house your home. And that can come in many different forms, but in relation to artwork, I feel like in your home needs to speak to you. It needs to speak to your space. It needs to tell part of your story. And what I have done is I have a great list of resources of artists that will do custom paintings for you.
Okay.
Whatever that might be.
So one that you had was a skydiving painting, and it had some kind of etching in it. or wording?
Yes, it does. It has special meaning behind it to the recipient. And
Right. I
so,
thought that was super cool. And
yeah,
then in the den, you had, it almost looked like a photograph, but was that a painting that they
it
took?
was.
That they took from a painting or a
It was,
photograph?
yeah, it was a photograph that we found on one of the beaches in La Jolla when we were visiting, and taken with an iPhone.
Wow.
I know, amazing. And my mother is a photographer, and I had her do the artistic part to make it look like a painting.
Oh, cool.
And then I had it printed on canvas, blown up, printed on canvas, and then the frame shop that did the work for me was able to add the texture to the painting.
That's awesome. And the framing and everything, it just looked so elegant on the wall. I love that piece.
Thank you.
So yeah, so that was one thing that stood out to me. And then the other big thing was the relocating. I just was like, wow, how does that look? You know, how difficult
I don't know. Ask me a year from now.
I know, right? So I'm sure you're gonna do great. I'm so excited to have you close by. But let's see. So what other, let me so with your personal branding experience, had you ever done anything like this before?
Not to the scale that you and I worked together on. I mean, I had some personal photos taken of myself,
Right.
in different settings, just to try to get photos of me, which, you know, I don't like doing. And you and I have talked about this. It makes you uncomfortable to be on the other side of the camera, where I hate to be on that side of the camera. But, you know, it's so funny because what we have found in my social media is every picture that either shows me or tells something personal about me, those posts are the most successful. We get the most reach. And so it works. You should do it. And, you know, and it was fun to work with you because, I mean, we kind of ad-libbed the day of. You're like, okay, what are some of your favorite things? I'm like, well, I'm kind of a wino. So we pulled out a bottle of wine and we made just kind of a quick charcuterie. It was very ugly, but, you know, given what I had on hand, it worked.
Yeah, because you had that board that had your logo on it, and I wanted to use that somehow. Yeah, I think, I mean, and I feel like you got a lot of content in your shoot. I remember we went over a bunch of stuff beforehand, and then when I got there, you just had everything prepared. And not only that, it was great to get the room shots. We were able to get a lot of room shots because everything was in place and we had prepared for it, and it was great. But then I loved the aspect of going to Miko and Boone, where we they gave us access to the store so that we could get kind of some lifestyle shots of what it looks like in a day in the life, you know, like you going to Miko and Boone and working and picking out textures and things like that. So I really did enjoy that. I enjoyed meeting them. If you were to give one piece of advice to someone that's going to be doing the branding experience, what would you say would be your piece of advice? Like, did you learn anything from it? Is there anything you would do different next time?
No, nothing I would do different. I would say that it's essential for your business. It speaks to, you know, the professionalism of your brand, whatever that brand might be. And the photos, and I mean, you're extremely talented, so I knew that what we got, the content. And I loved, you know, our meeting first started at Headshot Day at ADAC right before COVID shut everything down. So, you know, I had experience with you, and you made it so fun that day. So that's essential. But I think for anybody that wants to embark upon the process with you, you've got a good, like, I don't know what you call it, your resource sheet, your FAQs, you know, here's what you need to know. Here's what you need to do. Definitely do your homework, because it makes that part of the process so successful. I mean, I had a friend come in who's a wardrobe consultant, and I had her come in and help me pick outfits that worked, and that would work in different color settings, because we weren't quite sure where we were going to end up and what we had time for.
Right.
So I had 6 different outfits, I believe, and I think we only used 3 or 4 of them.
I'll say 3 or 4. Yeah. But I mean, it turned out great. And that's the thing I always tell people, like, if you're going to do a branding session, I mean, the work you put into it is what you're going to get out of it. I mean, it's not just about me doing all the work, because it's your brand. So it takes both of us to kind of come together. And I'm telling you, the people that I work with, that they do the work and I do the work, they always end up with so much more on the back end, the more prepared they are. So I definitely agree with that. What are some of your favorite things to do outside of work?
Oh, I have a ton of hobbies.
Okay.
I love gardening. I love to paint. I haven't had near as much time to do a lot of the fun things, but gardening is something I can always do. Flowering, a little vegetable garden. I love anything outdoors. We love to hike. We love to go to the beach, play tennis.
You like music too.
We love concerts, anything that gets you out and about. Yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything in Atlanta that you're like really excited to go experience or see?
There's so many things to see and do. There's
There
so much good food. We said we would not go to a place more than once, so we would try new places. But we have found so many great places that we want to keep going back to.
Yeah. Well, and you're over in the Roswell area. There's so much like up and coming over there, and like it's grown so much. It's such a great area to be in. So yeah, you're definitely in a good spot for all of that. Well, cool. Well, that pretty much concludes, what I wanted to go over and kind of put out there to everybody. I hope this has been helpful, either from a branding experience side or someone that's looking for interior design. I hope this has been helpful to them. And if there's anything else that you would like to add, feel free.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
For the opportunity to share, and I've enjoyed getting to know you over these last couple of years and develop a friendship and a lunch buddy.
I know. I can't wait to see you. Now that you're here, hopefully we can make that happen soon.
I would love it. Love it.
All right. Well, awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking the time today, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you, Katrina. Good to see you.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.